The Nazis printed billions in fake money. Not to get rich, not to survive the war, but to collapse an entire country without firing a single bullet. And the terrifying part? It almost worked. This was the largest counterfeiting operation in human history, and what governments learned from it quietly reshaped modern economic warfare. Imagine waking up tomorrow, checking your bank account, and realizing that your money is suddenly worth nothing. Not stolen, not frozen, just meaningless. And that was Britain's plan. February 1942, Sachsenhausen concentration camp. But within the camp, there was a building unlike any other. No starvation, no brutal labor lines. Instead, printing presses, work tables, microscopes. For inside this building, the Nazis were recruiting the most dangerous forgery gang of all time. 142 prisoners, artists, engravers, printers, bankers, each selected for one reason: to create perfect British money. And because they were not allowed to have a choice, except that it was their favorite kind of choice, forge or die. The leaders of the Nazi Party comprehended something that most people still do not. Money works only if we believe in it. Destroy that belief, and you don't damage an economy, you destroy a society. Their objective was terrifyingly simple: print so many fake pounds that Britain's currency would depreciate out of existence. No invasion, no battlefield, just paper. But here is where the story gets almost unbelievable. The false notes weren't merely good, they were flawless. Inmates examined actual British pounds under microscopes, fiber by fiber, ink formula by ink formula. They recreated watermarks perfectly, matched serial patterns. They even artificially aged the bills to make them look used. Later, last month, the Bank of England acknowledged something startling. They simply could not reliably distinguish them. Imagine that. The people who printed the real money couldn't detect the fake. By 1945, the Nazis had made more than 130 million pounds, billions in today's money, enough to collapse an entire national economy. But before unleashing it on Britain, they tested it. Switzerland, Turkey, neutral markets. They bought goods, exchanged currency, waited for alarms. None came. The money passed every test. So the Nazis got bolder. On their stockpiled counterfeit currency, that is. Fund spy networks, pay informants, finance covert operations, all with fake British currency. And Britain had no idea. But this was not merely an economic operation. It was psychological warfare. Because once people start doubting their money, they begin to doubt everything: their banks, their government, their future. History had already proven this. In 1923, Germany saw hyperinflation so severe, people had to push wheelbarrows full of cash to buy bread. Life savings vanished overnight. Social order cracked. Extremism surged. The Nazis understood how calamitous a monetary collapse can be. For the rise to power of those same people came next. Now they wanted Britain to witness the same chaos. But inside the camp, something unexpected was happening. The prisoners quietly started to sabotage the operation. Tiny errors, microscopic flaws, nearly invisible. Enough, they hoped, to eventually reveal that someone was a fake. It was a lethal balancing act. Too obvious, and they'd be shot. Too perfect, and they would aid in the destruction of a nation. A few prisoners did crack under pressure. Others kept working, because survival demanded it. The initial plan was nearly cinematic. Load planes with counterfeit cash, fly over Britain, and rain money from the sky. Imagine the panic. Folks snatching bills off the streets, spending overnight, prices exploding, savings evaporating, a real-time collapse of economic confidence. But strangely, the plan was never executed. Not because it wouldn't work, but Germany was running out of time and resources, so they pivoted. Rather than inundate all of Britain at once, they filtered the money around the world via global markets. A quieter attack, potentially more dangerous. And here is the point that continues to puzzle historians. We never recovered all of it. As the war ended, the Nazis threw crates of counterfeit cash into Austrian lakes, burned equipment, destroyed records, but millions of pounds were still unaccounted for. Some scholars suspect even fragments of that money might survive to this day, undetected, indistinguishable, passing silently between collectors and vaults. After the war, Britain faced an uncomfortable reality. Their currency had been compromised, so the Bank of England redesigned its banknotes. New security features, new systems, new protections. Not because the old design was weak, but because it had been perfected by the enemy. That's the true power of counterfeiting. Not the fake bills themselves, the doubt they create. Operation Bernhard changed warfare forever. It proved something chilling. You don't need bombs to attack a nation. You can attack its money. Today, economic warfare looks different. Sanctions, asset freezes, financial isolation. But the principle remains the same. Strike the currency, and you strike the country. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Our financial system still runs on belief. Only now, most money isn't even physical. It's digital, numbers on servers, which means trust has never been more critical or more fragile. Operation Bernhard ultimately failed to collapse Britain, but that's not what makes it terrifying. What makes it terrifying is how close it came. A group of prisoners, armed with printing presses, nearly accomplished what armies could not, because money's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness. We believe in it, and the moment that belief cracks, everything built on top of it begins to fall. History doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes, and some of the most dangerous weapons ever created aren't missiles. They're ideas. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden side of history, subscribe for more stories that change the world, often without anyone noticing.